Wow, wow, wow. What a week of college football, ladies and gentlemen. I thought this week was going to be kind of average, I was looking down the list and I was like, probably a lot of blowouts. But instead, there were blowouts like the other way. You had Texas A&M blowing out Missouri instead of, the other way around. You had so many upsets, and it turned out to be a really good week of college football. I mean, this sport is insane. The upsets is exactly why, I love college football. I like to cover it as well. And a game like this, Alabama versus Vanderbilt, a game where you think, oh, yeah, Alabama, that's an easy win. You don't even pay attention to that, especially after they beat Georgia. You're looking at Bama to possibly go undefeated all the way. And you turn around and you see Vanderbilt winning. What a game for Vanderbilt, legacy game for Vanderbilt, everyone involved. Quarterback Diego Pavia is a legit legend there at Vanderbilt. And what I really liked from Vanderbilt was that, they got an early lead. I think it was like a 13-0 lead. They had an early, 20-7, something like that. Early lead in the first half, but they just kept going. Bama fought back, as you would expect, but Vanderbilt did not roll over or anything. It seemed like, oh man, this game is going on forever. You got to think Bama's going to eventually, get ahead, pull away. But Vanderbilt just kept their foot on the neck, kept going, made it tough for the Alabama offense, especially in the first half. It completely exposed this Bama defense. I was just praising the Bama defense last year for, because they had all this talent, but it's obvious they need to work on that, especially the defensive backs. They were getting bullied up front. Vanderbilt running the ball very well. It's really iffy. What? You beat Georgia and then you come down. What a come down from beating Georgia, number one team, and then you lose to Vanderbilt. Overall, it was very cool to see Vandy Nashville go crazy. They pull down the goalposts, everything. Probably the biggest win in Vanderbilt history for a while. That maybe in the definitely the 2020s. You beat the number one team in the country. There's some discussion about, hey, do we put Bama ahead of Georgia? Where do we put Bama and Georgia? I would still put Bama above Georgia because I respect that head-to-head. I think the playoff committee definitely respects that as well. One thing you do want to note is Nick Saban in his first year, he lost to UL Monroe. So this is a similar loss for DeBoer. I think DeBoer's on still a good track. It will be interesting to see how his team responds. There is a lot of criticism surrounding the Alabama players, being frustrated during the game and that, Nick Saban wouldn't have let that fly, stuff like that. So it'll be really interesting to see how Kalen DeBoer gets his guys to respond, how Kalen DeBoer himself responds. That will be very interesting to see. Another upset was Arkansas and Tennessee. Arkansas holding Tennessee to just 14 points. While last week I was talking about, hey, Tennessee, I'm not really sold on them being a top 4 team. And now look at this, they're getting beat by Arkansas, and they're a bit better than expected. I think I picked them to be 5-7, something like that. 4-win, 5-win team. They're 4-2 right now, and they're looking pretty okay in the SEC at 2-1. All right, Missouri, just like Kansas, it kind of looks like they are having maybe a one-hit wonder season from last year. They're not being able to carry it over, especially with Kansas. I mean, they're 1-5 now. Missouri, this is just their first loss. Some other upsets: Minnesota beats USC, and then Washington gets revenge from the national championship from last year and beats Michigan. Michigan definitely not the same team at all. They are supposed to still have that talent there. It's obvious they don't have enough at the quarterback spot, and maybe we need to look a bit more into the cheating scandals and stuff and really question hey, why was Michigan so good those few years? Then Jim Harbaugh up and leaves. Now Sharon Moore. There's been a huge crackdown, and Michigan just isn't the same. Some other noteworthy games: Miami and Cal. I know probably a lot of you guys went to sleep looking at Cal. They're up 38-15, something like that. You turn around and I wake up this morning, I see Miami won the game. I'm like, what? We can go into a little Heisman talk as well real quick. Really, I think you got, at this point, Jalen Milroe has kind of taken a step back because of this loss to Vanderbilt. He played, okay in the Vanderbilt game. But really, I think it's between 3 guys at this point, and that is Cam Ward, as we mentioned, Travis Hunter doing it on both ends of the field, and then Ashton Jeanty. You look at what he's doing from that running back spot. It is quite insane. Already 1,000 yards running. You look at guys, a lot of guys don't even get to 1,000 yards the entire season. What Ashton Jeanty is doing, he's really, literally and figuratively carrying Boise State. Ashton Jeanty, man, I think, it's going to be for me, it's really back and forth between him and Travis Hunter. Overall, though, I really want one of them to win the Heisman and not a quarterback. I want this to be a non-quarterback winning year. Last time we've had that is Devontae Smith, and I think he's been the best Heisman winner since 2020. If you go further back, you can look at a guy like Joe Burrow. Boise State was this close to beating Oregon, who's looking better and better each week. Okay, so here's the updated AP poll. Texas moves back into the number 1 spot. Ohio State moves up 1, and Oregon jumps up 3. Oregon is the number 3 team now, and that sets up an amazing matchup for next week. Oregon and Ohio State will meet next week. That game is going to be peak, just like, very similar to the Alabama and Georgia game. This time from the Big Ten standpoint, we're getting into some good Big Ten games now. Speaking of Big Ten, Penn State moves up 3 spots into number 4. They have been impressive. Georgia stays at number 5. Miami moves up 2 spots for their comeback win over Cal. It looks like Alabama moves down 6 spots from number 1 to number 7. Alabama's below Georgia at this point. I can see arguments for that, but you look at, they played each other head to head, and to me, head to head, you got to give it to the winner of that matchup. Even if Alabama lost to Vanderbilt, which is a very bad loss, I'm going to be interested to see who else is in this top 25. Tennessee moves down 4 spots to number 8. Then we have Ole Miss. Clemson moves up into the top 10, so that Georgia win over Clemson is a very good one. And maybe that can also be why we have Georgia at number 5 and Alabama at number 7. Iowa State doing big things in the Big 12. They're number 11 now. They beat Baylor. They just keep on winning. We'll see how they do with kind of getting into tougher competition, but they're playing very well. They're number 11 now, and they're actually tied with Notre Dame. They're both number 11. Notre Dame moves it up 3 spots. They're 4-1 now. Another Big 12 team, BYU and Iowa State, kind of surprises, undefeated so far. We'll see how they do. Both their last win was against Baylor. Then we have Texas A&M moving up big time after their win over Missouri, and I still haven't seen Missouri yet, so we'll see how far they drop. That was a really bad loss, and a very good win for Texas A&M. That Texas A&M versus Notre Dame game is looking better. At first we thought, okay, maybe both teams aren't actually as good as we thought, but they're looking better and better now. Indiana haven't had a lot of tests. They are 6-0, the first bowl eligible team this year. So they're doing great things over there. Then we have Illinois moving up a spot, and Michigan stays in the top 25. Where is a Syracuse team? I think Syracuse deserves to be in this top 25. Syracuse just got like 6 votes. But I just noticed Vanderbilt is not in the top 25. They just beat the number 1 team in the country, and they're not in the top 25. What is this, bro? They have to be at least top 20, in my opinion. At least top 20. Vanderbilt not being in here is an actual crime. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. Vanderbilt should be in the top 25. Let me know down below about how you feel about these rankings and everything. Make sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Thanks for watching. Peace.